There's a story whispered in royal circles, one that was never meant to escape the velvet walls of London's elite lounges. It's the kind of story that makes the air thicken when you say Meghan Markle's name. Because, as the whispers go, Meghan's royal journey didn't begin with some fairy tale blind date or a charming love story over candlelight. No. Her path began long before Prince Harry even looked her way inside the secret rooms and soft-lit corners of Soho House, where the powerful whisper, deals are sealed in laughter, and careers are made over a single cocktail. For years, this story lived in the dark, tucked away behind closed doors. No one dared to speak it. Nobody wanted to be the one to point at the truth that Meghan's rise wasn't some innocent twist of fate. She was introduced, guided, and placed where she needed to be. And now, of all people, Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess who's seen every corner of royal scandal, is said to be ready to talk. Yes, Fergie. The same woman who's been called messy, scandal-prone, wild, unpredictable, but never weak. She's fallen, been dragged through mud, mocked by tabloids, and yet she always survives. Every time. And that's why insiders say Meghan made her gravest mistake when she decided to ignore her. Meghan thought she could float above the chaos, leave people behind once they'd served their purpose. But Fergie? She's not someone you turn your back on. She's someone who remembers, someone who waits, someone who knows too much. And the whispers say Fergie didn't just watch Meghan during those Soho House days, she participated. She saw the meetings, the people, the introductions, the quiet coaching that turned an actress into a woman bound for royal circles. Meghan may have thought she was playing the game, but Fergie already wrote the rulebook. According to publishing insiders and royal contacts, Sarah Ferguson is now negotiating a tell-all. Not the sugar-coated type that politely avoids names, but a bombshell ready to shake the palace. They say it won't just expose royal secrets, it'll spill the hidden truth about Meghan, the real beginnings, the people who helped her, the stories she thought she buried. Inside the palace walls, the reaction has been icy. Word is, King Charles feels uneasy. His circle says he's willing to offer quiet concessions if it means keeping Fergie's lips sealed. But Prince William, he's not budging. He's said to be calm, fearless, refusing to bribe silence because unlike others, he has nothing to hide. Meghan, though, she has everything to lose. See, the tension here isn't about the past, it's about what happens if those buried truths come roaring back. The public loves the idea of a fairy tale. Meghan meets Harry through a sweet introduction, sparks fly, the world swoons. But insiders say that story was crafted, not born. The real version? Meghan was already moving through elite spaces before Harry's name ever appeared. She was preparing, networking, building a ladder one rung at a time. And Sarah Ferguson allegedly saw it all. She recognized the pattern because she'd done it herself decades earlier. She knew the faces, the names, the gatekeepers. Those rooms were not random. Those invitations weren't luck. They were strategy. Meghan's rise wasn't coincidence. It was carefully orchestrated. And that's what makes Fergie's silence so powerful. Because if she starts connecting those dots out loud, that perfectly polished fairy tale will shatter into a story of calculated ambition. And to understand how deep this goes, you have to go back to Soho House. This wasn't just a social club with pretty interiors. According to those in the know, it was a gateway, a grooming ground for the connected, the famous, and the soon-to-be. Meghan wasn't just sipping coffee there. She was aligning herself with the right people. And at the center of it all was Marcus Anderson. He's been called a connector, a gatekeeper, a master of positioning. People say he guided Meghan, introduced her to the right hands to shake, the right parties to attend. He opened doors she could never have reached alone. But Marcus wasn't the only one. The whispers grow darker when another name surfaces: Ron Burkle, the billionaire with royal ties and private jets. He was connected to the same social web, offering access, exclusivity, and introductions that reshaped Meghan's path. And guess who knew them both? Sarah Ferguson. She'd walked those same corridors, mingled in those same circles. She'd seen how this world works, the favors, the exchanges, the whispers in the dark. And now, insiders claim she can trace Meghan's climb step by step, from Soho House lounges to royal introductions, all the way to that fateful day she met Prince Harry. The palace, they say, is terrified. Because if Fergie speaks, the official royal narrative becomes a lie. The fairy tale turns into a roadmap, a path that was engineered, not enchanted. Here's where the story starts to sting. People close to both women claim that once, not long ago, Sarah Ferguson tried to reach out to Meghan. She'd seen her rise. She knew the rumors. Maybe she wanted friendship. Maybe she expected loyalty. After all, they shared a past, a circle, a few quiet secrets no one else would ever understand. But Meghan didn't reply. Not once. She ignored the calls, the messages, the subtle hand extended toward her. She thought she didn't need Fergie anymore. She had new friends now, royal ones, bigger titles, a global spotlight. But if there's one lesson Meghan never learned, it's this. Fergie doesn't forget. Insiders say she was humiliated, treated like a relic, discarded by someone who'd once needed her. And that humiliation? It turned into something sharper. Not jealousy. Recognition. She looked at Meghan and saw herself only younger, shinier, more reckless. She saw a woman climbing with no safety net, and she knew exactly where the fall would hurt most. Now, the whispers say Fergie holds the match. And Meghan? She's sitting on the powder keg. While Meghan tries to stay quiet and composed, behind the palace walls, a silent storm brews. Because Sarah Ferguson's threat to spill it all has split the royals into two uneasy camps. On one side stands King Charles, cautious, calculating, and painfully aware of how fragile the royal image truly is. Sources whisper that he's haunted by his own past, terrified that if Fergie starts talking too freely, ghosts tied to his brother Andrew will crawl back into the light. Deals, friendships, and private arrangements, things long buried, could resurface. And so, insiders say Charles is willing to bend, to soften, to quietly offer comfort to the Duchess in exchange for her silence. But across that grand divide stands Prince William. Cold, firm, unmoved. Those closest to him say he refuses to play the palace game of fear. Fergie, to him, is a relic of chaos, not a threat. He won't give her power by acknowledging her whispers. He has nothing to hide, no scandals she can pull from the shadows. And so, he waits, daring her to speak. This tension has created a crack right through the royal core, half ruled by dread, the other by defiance. And somewhere in the middle, without protection, without family to shield her, stands Meghan Markle. The one person Sarah Ferguson can expose without bringing down the entire institution. The one target no one inside Buckingham Palace will defend. That's where the danger festers, because Meghan has been isolated and Fergie knows it. Now, according to people in the know, the story that could destroy Meghan isn't about what she did after meeting Harry, it's about what came before. Some of the same circles that once whispered her name years ago are speaking again. There are claims, delicate, dangerous claims, that Meghan's ambitions once pointed higher than Harry, that her eyes were fixed on Prince Andrew. If that's true, then Harry wasn't plan A, he was plan B. One insider said a friend of Harry's had warned him early on, claiming he'd seen Meghan before, long before the royal romance. Back then, she wasn't a duchess or a humanitarian icon. She was a woman navigating high-end parties, exclusive yachts, and elite introductions that seemed to materialize out of nowhere. These whispers, true or not, carry power, because they come from people who have names, faces, and photographs, and many of them trace back to the same rooms Sarah Ferguson once ruled. Even Meghan's wedding guest list has its own suspicious silence. Several people who had been close to her during those early social climbs, people she'd dined with, traveled with, and networked beside, were suddenly absent. No invitation, no appearance, no trace. Sources claim it wasn't coincidence. Those individuals knew too much, and Meghan couldn't risk them being photographed near the biggest day of her life. These aren't just internet theories. They're murmurs shared by the kind of people who don't speak without reason, the ones who sit in quiet corners of Mayfair restaurants, whose phones are never traced, whose gossip never leaves the table. If Sarah Ferguson confirms even a fraction of it, the carefully crafted image Meghan built, the activist, the victim, the global princess, could collapse like glass under pressure. Meanwhile, those around Meghan say she's trying to appear unbothered, maintaining her calm public smile. But insiders paint a different picture. Behind the scenes, she's restless, tense, making calls to old contacts, checking what could surface, who might talk, because she knows once a story like this catches fire, no royal PR machine can stop it. And that's the most terrifying part. Fergie doesn't need to lie. She doesn't need to invent. All she has to do is confirm what others have already said. Just one truth, one detail, one acknowledgement, and the rest will unravel itself. The internet, the tabloids, the royal watchers, they'll do the rest. For years, Meghan shaped her image like a sculptor, chiseling every word, every appearance, every interview. She built an identity, misunderstood, silenced, controlled. But if Sarah Ferguson opens her mouth, that image will crumble into something far less glamorous. A woman not silenced by the royals, but helped by them. Not excluded, but introduced. Because here's the cruel irony. Meghan and Fergie are two sides of the same coin, both outsiders who wanted in. Both ambitious women in a world ruled by tradition. But where Fergie played with emotion, Meghan played with calculation. And now, the teacher stands ready to expose the student. As the story comes to its closing note, one haunting truth lingers. Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess who outlasted humiliation, is standing at the edge of a new storm, one she can command. She's holding Meghan's carefully buried past like a loaded secret, deciding when to pull the trigger. And Meghan? She's waiting for the sound. Because when a secret is kept, it belongs to its keeper. But when it's spoken, it destroys its subject. And Sarah Ferguson, the survivor of every royal disaster, the woman who's watched kingdoms bend and crumble, seems more than ready to finally speak.